and why questions are being asked of the chiropractic sector.
As far as I can tell, the chiropractic board are really a law unto themselves.
I feel silly. I'm not a medical professional and I didn't know any better. I've learnt from it big time.
Chiropractors are walking around with the title doctor, and the public are mistaken to thinking that they're real medical practitioners.
Many Australians were aghast when a video showing a newborn baby being dangled by its feet by a chiropractor went viral last month. A temporary ban was put on all infant spinal manipulations while the review's underway. But medical and legal professionals have told 7:30 that infant spinal manipulation is just one of a number of practices commonly used by chiropractors that should be stamped out. Madeline Morris reports.
So I'm just going to go upside down for a second. Yep, you can go back down, just hold his head. Thanks. Perfect.
When chiropractor Andrew Arnold posted this video of him manipulating a baby's spine, the public outcry was swift.
I have to say that I was very upset after watching this particular video image.
We're going to use the activator on the lowest setting, but I'll just show you on your hand here. So it's that.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of a cry, is it? Yeah, no comment, thank you.
The Chiropractic Board of Australia, which regulates chiropractors, restricted Dr Arnold from treating children, and Victoria's Health Minister ordered a review of the evidence for infant spinal manipulation. It's not just cracking babies' backs that's raising questions about chiropractic standards.
As far as I can tell, the chiropractic board are really a law unto themselves.
There needs to be much more robust oversight in chiropractic care.
Life's pretty quiet these days for Rosemary Hawas.
For the cancer, I guess I just feel I have a lot more confidence. It's all about my stomach now. So I'm only working part-time, so it's not much, but it's something, because like I said, I have that urge to always go to the toilet.
Rosemary's in remission from stage 3 bowel cancer. She was diagnosed at the age of just 36. She's had radiation, chemotherapy, and a large part of her bowel removed. Around 2 years, she factor complaining of lower gut issues.
I explained to him that on the first visit that I had some bloating issues, some nausea issues, general overall lethargic fatigue, some rectal bleeding.
Dr. Robert Delac used kinesiology on Rosemary. It's an alternative medicine practice which tests muscle responses to try to find out what's wrong with the body.
So initially he was doing some pressure points, some muscle testing, and then he also used some vials that were filled with some sort of fluid placed on my stomach while he was doing these adjustments. And then led to Dr. Delac saying that I had a parasite, a blastoparasite in my bowel.
Did he ever do any pathology to detect whether you had a parasite?
No, he didn't.
No other tests, no internal tests, no bloods, nothing?
No scans, no.
He diagnosed it with vials of water on your stomach?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Kennedy, and I am a chiropractor that does a technique called applied kinesiology.
Hold strong. Hold strong. Good.
Applied kinesiology was developed by a chiropractor, and plenty of chiros use it, though it's not taught as part of their degree. In fact, we randomly checked 100 members of the Australian Chiropractic Association and found more than 20% use kinesiology. That's despite a recent review for the federal government finding there isn't any solid evidence that kinesiology works at all.
It's mumbo jumbo.
Can you use kinesiology to diagnose a parasite in the gut?
I would find that that wouldn't be a plausible rationale in terms of, that would be unacceptable.
Dr. Delac said it wouldn't take overnight, but it would take some time to fix it, but it will get fixed.
Rose was also seeing her GP for other complaints, including gastritis, but she didn't speak to him about her lower gut symptoms because she says she felt she was already being treated by a doctor for these issues, her chiropractor. Dr. Delac would later say he was under the impression she'd spoken to her GP about these problems. you've got rectal bleeding, you've got these persistent symptoms.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just go to your doctor about this?
Hindsight's a great thing, and looking back, exactly, I would have done exactly that. But at the time, I felt assured by Dr. Delac that this was going to be corrected. What would be the point seeing two people for the same thing?
After being treated by her chiropractor for her gut problems for more than 2 years, Rose wasn't getting any better. When she eventually spoke to her GP about it, he referred her for a colonoscopy, and she was diagnosed with stage 3 bowel cancer.
It would fall normally in a jurisdiction of a medical doctor, particularly with rectal bleeding.
But she hadn't reported that to him because she was seeing a chiropractor for her gut issues.
I think the
Can you
onus,
understand
yes, absolutely.
how a patient...
Absolutely. I think the onus is on the public to actually, if they have a particular symptomatology or signs, to report all those symptoms and signs to the practitioner that they're consulting with.
Which she did, which was the chiropractor, who she calls doctor, don't forget.
We all have responsibilities in relation to these matters. Patients have responsibilities to fully inform their health practitioner of all their signs and symptoms, regardless of who they're seeing.
Rosemary complained about Dr. Delac's care to the health practitioner's regulator, and it investigated. Last year, the chiropractic board cleared Dr. Delac, saying it had no evidence he'd failed to appropriately refer her. It found Rosemary was seen on multiple occasions by her GP for other gastrointestinal issues, where she'd made no reports of rectal bleeding and had only had intermittent discussions about the bleeding with Dr. Delac. Dr. Delac declined to be interviewed by 7:30 and didn't respond to detailed questions. He gave a statement simply saying he'd been investigated and cleared. Spinal surgeon John Cunningham says this case is typical of chiropractors using techniques for which there is no good evidence, something he says is all too common.
Unfortunately, chiropractors find that they supplement their practice with kinesiology or wellness coaching and dietary advice, and it's a slippery slope. And they're still walking around with this title doctor. So when you have a doctor practicing kinesiology, why wouldn't you think it's legitimate?
Chiropractors are expected to adhere to the code of conduct, which is very much based around looking at the evidence.
But there is no evidence for kinesiology.
I mean, we are risk-based regulators. We actually respond to notifications that are submitted by the public. That's the way regulation works in Australia. The issues you raise.
Will you take another look at this case?
We will take another look at this case, yes we will.
That's cold comfort for Rosemary Hawas.
I feel silly. But I'm not a medical professional, and I didn't know any better. And I've learnt from it big time.
Madeline Morris reporting. There's